Vayomer lo, Vayomer lo Elokim. And God said to him, Ani kel shakai. I am kel shakai. Pray urve. Goy. Kahal gayim yemimeka. You should be fruitful and multiply. And a congregation of nations shall descend from you. And kings shall issue from your loins. So the Gemara, yes. Uh-oh. Yeah, bidvaro.
His name is now changed.
Yeah, his name is Yisrael.
Right. How come?
1 second, Jerry, yeah.
Israel. Instead of Jacob.
Yeah, Steve is asking a very good question. If his name was changed, like when Avram's name was changed to Avram and Sarai's name was changed to Sarah, we're no longer allowed to refer to them as Avram and Sarai. We have to refer to them, as Abraham and Sarah. But Jacob is referred to that way in the prayers. We call him Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And not only that, the Torah calls him Jacob. The Torah specifically calls him Jacob. So the question is not really on the prayers, but on the Torah. Why does the Torah still keep calling him Jacob? So the usual answer to that is that the usual answer to that is that I don't know a great answer, but the usual answer is when he's being in a national sense as Yisrael, then Yisrael refers to the national Jacob. When he's individual, it's Jacob. But it's a really a fundamental question, and I've never really heard a beautiful answer to it. So you're right on the money, Steve. Yeah, and Jerry, what's your question?
The last line of verse 11, where God says, "Kings shall issue from your loins." You remember when in the Navi, Tanakh, where when the Jews speak out to I forgot now the Kohen, we want a king, and he tells them a king is not appropriate for you people. God is your king, but they insisted, and they got a king. So here God is telling Jacob that the Jewish people will eventually appoint kings. So were the prophets wrong in stating you should not appoint a king?
No, so you know what, Jerry? You're sharp as ever. Jerry, you're amazing. That the Talmud says that this is the verse that they cited to prove that they should have a king. And when we get to Rashi is going to refer to that. So really, it's also because it's in the future. You will have somebody coming from your loins who will be the father of a king. And so it means to say it has to refer to Benjamin because all the other children were born. And this already, and so this is a prophecy that your next child will be the father of kings. And they use this as the proof that the king could come from Benjamin. Rashi is going to say that. So that's just an incredible point that you subtly picked up. Jerry and Steve are, I'm humbled to be studying with you. Thank you. No, seriously, you guys read it so carefully.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's look at the Rashi. Rashi says, Ani kel shaddai, shani kedai levarech. I have sufficiency to bless. Shabrachot shali. That the blessings are mine. Dai lemisparchin. They're sufficient for those who are being blessed.
Makes sense.
What?
Makes a lot of sense.
The word Shaddai means it's a compositive sheyesh dai, that there is enough. So it is enough. I have the ability to bless, meaning to say God is saying I have the ability to bless, that I have sufficient power to bless, because all the blessings are from me. That's what it's saying. There's enough. I have enough. My blessings can go around. And then he says, Purei urave. He's saying, be fruitful and multiply, because Benjamin was still not born. Even though Rachel at this point, according to Midrash, was already pregnant with him.
And that's it, right? There are no more.
There are no more that the Torah records. Yeah,
Right.
no more.
So-
Yeah.
So,
So he's saying have one more child. Yeah, Jerry, you had a question.
And it's from Benjamin what is the family tree from Benjamin? Kings, king.
Yes. Saul comes from Benjamin. Mordecai comes from Benjamin. Ishbosheth was another king who came from Benjamin.
But not Shmuel.
Shmuel was a Levi.
that's important to us.
Right?
But what about David and Solomon?
They came from Judah.
Ah, I see.
Okay. So then it says, Goy, this Rashi says this whole verse is referring to Benjamin. Goyim, but nations will come from you. That refers to Menashe and Ephraim. Sha'atidim latzeit mi Yosef. In the future, they're going to come from Joseph. They were counted amongst the tribes. And now Rashi does exactly the Rashi that Jerry pointed out. Kings will come from you. This is Shaul and Ishbosheth, who are from the tribe of Benjamin. Shaddai and Noah, they were not yet born. Upasuk Zed Darshu Avner. This verse was expounded by Avner, Kishahimlich Ishbosheth, when he crowned Ishbosheth. Now David by this point had been crowned, and Saul had been slain. So Avner used our verse, which implies that there be two kings from the tribe of Benjamin, as a justification to name Shaul's son Ishbosheth the king, because it says kings will spring forth from you. So Ba'af Hashvatim Durashu, Vikervu Binyamin. Also, the other tribes expounded it and brought Benjamin closer, because there was a story at the end of Judges in chapter 19 through 21 of Judges called the incident of the concubine of Gibeah, where they were promised that they took an oath that they're not going to marry into Benjamin. And it says in the verse, no man from amongst us will give his daughter to Benjamin for a wife. But afterwards they said, if Benjamin would not be counted amongst the tribes, God would not have said to Jacob, they said they had taken an oath not to marry Benjamin, but then they justified it.
So the tribe of Benjamin committed murder. They slaughtered a fellow tribe.
No, what happened was that there was an incident where there was a Levite going through the town of Gibeah, which was part of Benjamin, and the Levite's concubine was brutally killed by the people of Gibeah. And then the other tribe said to Benjamin, hand us over these people. And Benjamin refused. And so the people took an oath, a civil war ensued, and they took an oath and said, we're not going to marry anybody from Benjamin. But then after the war, they regretted it because the tribe of Benjamin was almost entirely wiped out. So they had to find a justification to marry to Benjamin, and this was the justification.
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Okay. So I see, Elon, that the ceiling was leaking again. That's what Josh said. It's horrible. I'm so upset. What? A leak. But the most important thing is to stop the leaks from our souls. That's the most important thing, not the leaks from the roof. So then it says, a goy kahal goyim, a nation and a congregation of nations. Shegoyim atidim banav le'asot. His children are destined to become nations, like the number of the nations of the world. Sheim Shivim Umot, which are 70. Plain call Sanhedrin Shivim. The Sanhedrin is 70. And in the future, Davar Acher, alternatively, Shatitim Banav La'akriv, Vishat Isur Bamot Kagoyim. In the future, the children will bring offerings like the nations do in the time of Elijah. Okay, next verse. Ve'es ha'aretz asher nasat. Hold on 1 second. And the land asher nasati la'Avraham liyitzlach lecha et nena, and the land which I will give to Abraham and to Isaac, to you I shall give. U'zaracha acharecha et tein ha'aretz, and to your children after you I will give this land. Vayalme alav Elokim b'makom asher diber ito. And God ascended from him in the place that he spoke with him. Rashi says, Eini yodea ma melamdenu. Wow. Rashi says, I don't know what this verse means. Can you imagine that? I don't know what this verse means.
We talked about that when Rashi would say that
He says it like 70 times.
Why wouldn't he just
Skip it.
make a commentary? We talked about that. Like, is there a reason that he's got to say, oh, there's something to be had here? And I just don't.
I think his reason is it's humility. He's saying, I don't understand it.
I don't know about the other 69 times, but this verse
More than 70. I think
okay.
it was.
No, I'm just saying, I don't know for sure, but I'm just saying this specific verse is part of the Christian theology that there's ascent and there's all kinds of stuff like that, and so that's why he doesn't just ignore it. We don't know as Jews what this is about.
In Christian theology, the Son of God is the one that ascends, not God.
So Stevie is saying, no, God is not the one who ascends, it's the Son of God in Christian theology. Look, if you're saying Rashi's,
yeah, but they call him God, so I'm saying so they always mix up between the reality of the actual word, even when it says Yud Hey Vav Hey, they say that's him. So
here we go. In 77 places in the scripture, Rashi says he doesn't know the meaning or the significance of the verse. Wow. In the Torah. So, I mean, I don't think all of them are polemics. I think he's just a man of incredible humility that he reads a verse and he's saying, I don't know. And rather than skip it, which he could certainly have done and nobody would have known that there was anything unusual, he says, wait, I don't understand this verse.
But the image here is the image of God being on earth talking to Jacob, right? Physically.
Well, that's what it said earlier.
Right. I mean, that's the image. So why is it so complicated to understand?
Yeah, especially because earlier God was almost like in heaven with the ladder. And now we have the contrast that God is below. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought twice about this verse really if I hadn't heard this Rashi that he doesn't understand it. We'd have to see the commentaries to see what's terribly bothering him.
Well, there's a secondary image which I'm not good enough in Hebrew, but it says that somehow God ascended from within Jacob.
Within Jacob.
Yeah.
From upon him.
Well, that's where they're from upon him. Yeah.
Right, from within him.
Yeah, that's how the conversation took place.
Interesting. That could be.
I mean,
Does Rabbi Steinzel say something there?
Nothing.
That's the metaphysics of it. Anyway.
Yeah, that he's speaking from him. I don't know what to say. I mean, it's I love what one Rashi says he doesn't know. It makes us all realize that Rashi was the greatest commentary of all on the Bible and on the Talmud. If he could say he doesn't know, we all have to learn to say when we don't know.
There is theologically, I mean, there's the notion of God in coming into a person, actually into their consciousness.
That's the way prophecy works according to Maimonides. So you're exactly right.
So that's not it's not a concept that is outside of the commentary.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the issue is why is Rashi saying? Okay, we'll go on. Vayatsev Yaakov Matzeva b'makom asher diber ito. So God set up, Jacob set up an a pillar in the place that God spoke with him. Matzeves oven, a pillar of stone. Vayasech oleh nesech, and he poured a libation on it. Vayitzok oleh shemen, and he poured oil on it.
Jerry has his hand up.
Oh yes, Jerry.
Yes, question. Surely Rashi could have found something in a medrash that would explain that phrase that Rashi says. I don't understand that phrase.
You would think he could have. I mean, Rashi knew every medrash perfectly. You would think he could have, but he doesn't.
Is there a modern medrash? Let's say.
No, Rabbi Yosef has the Rabbi Yosef could easily access the super commentaries on Rashi, so he could look them up on Sefaria, to see what the commentaries say. But I don't have the book here with the super commentaries. All and the footnotes here don't refer to anything. The footnotes here don't refer to anything. Okay.
Rabbi Goldman, could you look in Sefaria to see whether there's any super comment?
See if Siftei Chachamim says something. Does the Siftei Chachamim say something? Or the Mizrahi, these are the two classic commentaries. Again, we saw before that there are over 700 commentaries on Rashi, nearly 800 super commentaries on Rashi. In the meantime, we'll do the next verse. Vayikra Yaakov et Shema makom asher diber ito Shem Elokim Beitel. And Jacob called the place where God spoke with him there, Beitel. Vayisu, you have something, Rabbi Yosef?
The Gur Aryeh says that
The Gur Aryeh, do we know what that is? Let me just tell everybody what that is. That's the Maral of Prague. So the Maral of Prague wrote a commentary on Rashi, and what does he say?
that it's the special place. It teaches us that the word makom is specifically Hashem, and so he says, "I called this place El Beit El," which is the only time in the whole Tanakh that it's written like that. So mochiach ki hamakom gorem. That's
No,
it.
but we can. But the issue is, we know that other commentaries could explain this verse. The question is, why is Rashi saying he doesn't know how to explain it?
Yeah, so
Okay.
Gur Aryeh basically says, "I don't know why." Rashi says, "I don't know."
Okay, fine. Next verse. Vayikra Yaakov et Shem.
From Rashba.
Yeah. So Jacob.
Could Rabbi Goldman give us one medrash, one modern medrash explanation of that phrase that puzzles Rashi?
He'd have to find it.
I'm looking.
He's looking. Okay. So in the meantime, Jacob called the name of that place that God spoke with him there, Elokim Beitel. God called the name, Jacob called the name of the place where God spoke with him there, Elokim Beitel. But really, that where God spoke with him there, Sham Elokim Beitel. He called it Beitel.
The house of God.
Yeah, Vayisumi, but it was already called Beitel earlier.
Again, why?
But I guess he didn't call it there before.
The same Beitel.
He's talking back, like
It does.
similarly to before with Avram when he makes his first Mizbeach and then
he came back to the place exactly.
So Yaakov, when he's fleeing, he makes it first, and then he does it when he's.
But he already called this place Beitel earlier. So why does he call it Beitel again?
Steinsaltz even says it's again.
Yeah. Yeah. Does Rabbi Steinsaltz have an explanation?
To reiterate that the place was the house of Hashem.
It was really Beitel.
Where Hashem's Shekhinah rested. And then it says the city of Beersheba is likewise named twice.
Oh, so there are other cities named twice. Oh, Josh, sorry about the leak. We have to figure it out.
Yeah,
We're working on it.
I don't think it's the still investing somewhere else,
How could it be something else?
like the tape or
The what?
I don't know, maybe the tape, like the connector of the,
Oh, I'll figure it out. These guys, it's their job.
I was
Right.
Beersheba named twice.
Where is it named twice?
Yeah.
Well, Yitzchak names it Beersheva because the oath of the 7 wells. The Be'er, it's the oath, and I don't know. Look, what does Rabbi Shamlin say?
Avram.
Avram and Yitzchak both name it that.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Vayisumi Beitel, they traveled from Beitel. Vayi od kivrat haaretz lavo Ephrata, and there was still a kivrat eretz to come to Ephrat. Vateled Rachel vatikash poetitah, and Rachel was giving birth, and she was having difficulty with giving birth. Rachel was having a tremendous difficulty giving birth. So this is very sad and scary. What does the verse say? What is the word kivras? Kivras means reboy. Menachem says it means great quantity. Malech Rav, a long trek. Vagada, and as the Agadah says, it means bisman she'aretz chalula, when land is pitted. Umenukeves kikivran, full of holes like a sieve. Shanir matzoi, that the ground is commonplace. Hastavavar, the winter has passed. Okay, fine. Anyway, they're just discussing what that means. Verse 17. Vayibak shotabu editah, when she had difficulty giving birth. Oh, Jeff. When she had difficulty giving birth. Vatomer la, and he said to her, and she said, Vatomer la miyaladis, and the woman who was giving birth said, Al tiri, don't be afraid. Kigam zelach ben, you have another son. Rashi says, Kigam zen no safach. Al Yosef, in addition to Joseph, V'Rabbasim Darshu in Kol Shevet Nolda Ta'oma, with every tribe was born a twin. Vima Benyamin Nolda Ta'oma Yetera. So this is those who are asking, with every tribe was born a twin, but Benjamin had an extra twin, so he had triplets. Benjamin had triplets. Wow. Benjamin was one of 3. Vayhi B'tzeit nafsha, when she was dying, Kimeta, Vatikra Shemo Benoni, and she called his name Benoni. The son, well, we don't know what Benoni, Rashi says it means Ben Sari, the son of my pain. Vaviv Karao Binyamin. His father calls him Binyamin. What's the difference between Benoni and Binyamin? Rashi says it means as follows. The difference is, hello there, you. Rashi says, Nireh Beinai, Nolad Be'eretz Canaan, Lefi Shehu Evado Nolad Be'eretz Canaan. It seems to me that he was the only one born in the land of Canaan. Shri B'Negev, which is in the south. Kisha Adam Ba Me'aram Ne'arayim, Kamoshin Emar B'Negev Be'eretz Canaan, Haloch V'Nasoa Negba. So basically, the point is that he was the only one who was born. Why is he called Binyamin? Because he was the only one who was born in Canaan, which is in the south. So therefore, if you're coming that way, I guess it's on your right side. The son of my right side. Is that? I guess that's what it means. Does Rabbi Steinzel say? Or Benyamin means the son of the south.
Yeah, because the south is on the right when your orientation is you're going east.
Towards the sun.
Yeah. Rashi says, Lashon Safon v'yamim atav v'ratam. The north and the right you created them. So, Fikach hu maleh. Yes, Jerry, and then we'll stop and daven.
Gosh,